Shaggy the sheep. Shaggy was a happy young sheep who liked to run, jump, and skip. He lived on a mountain with lots of other sheep. One day Shaggy saw Farmer Jim and his dog Toby coming up the mountain to get all the sheep. It was time to cut off their wool. Shaggy didn't want to have his wool cut off, so he hid inside a little dark cave. Farmer Jim and Toby couldn't find him there. Shaggy was left behind in the cave. Farmer Jim took the other sheep away to cut off all their wool. When the sheep came back, they all looked thin and white and happy. They ran fast and skipped and jumped. Shaggy still looked woolly and fat. He could still run and jump, but he was much slower than his friends. Soon the sheep grew new wool. After a year, Farmer Jim came back to get them because it was time to cut their wool off again. Shaggy hid quietly in his little cave. Farmer Jim and Toby couldn't see him there, so they left him behind. All the other sheep had their wool cut off again. Shaggy was woollier and fatter and slower than his friends. Every year Shaggy watched Farmer Jim and Toby coming to get the sheep. He hid in his little cave every time. Farmer Jim couldn't see any more sheep, so Shaggy was left behind again and again. He stayed on the mountain for 6 years, growing more and more wool. Poor Shaggy couldn't run and jump at all because his wool was too heavy and thick. The next year, when Farmer Jim was coming to get all his sheep, Shaggy went back to the little cave to try to hide again. But he couldn't get into his cave. He got stuck between two rocks because he was so woolly and fat. He was too big to hide any more. Farmer Jim saw Shaggy trying to hide. "How did this sheep get so fat and woolly?" he said. "This is the fattest, woolliest sheep that I have ever seen." So Farmer Jim took Shaggy slowly down the mountain to have his wool cut off. He had much more wool than any of the other sheep. When all his wool was cut, Shaggy was as thin and white as all his friends. "Now I can run and jump," he said. "I won't ever hide in that cave again." The